Okay, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. My name's Tracy. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm telling you, you are in for a treat. This is the most amazing, amazing story and opportunity that really is going to change a lot of lives here, not just here for us, but for global change. So we have an opportunity to meet an incredibly interesting fellow with a vision bigger than anything I've ever seen in my life, and partnered up with an incredibly great technology company, and together we are going to create a story and a movement, and I really believe that this is going to be a movement like nothing that we've ever seen before. So I'm going to, at this point, introduce to you the man with the vision, the man that just when you get a chance to hear him, you'll see that he only goes in one direction, and he goes at breakneck speed. So make sure you got a pen and paper handy, so that you can get your questions answered at the end, because we will do a Q&A at the end as well. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the man with the vision, and he has just an incredible passion for helping people, the homeless, and everybody. And his name is Bruce Perlman. So Bruce, over to you, buddy.
Thank you, Tracy. Let's start off with I am clearly the renegade of the group. Okay, so we got that straight. My background, I have a notorious background. Now, there's a lot of moving parts to what we're doing right now. And some people I talk about the stock. I'm the CEO of a public company. Some people I talk about network marketing and the incredible opportunity we have just in the network marketing component of this. What I basically did is I connected about 20 to 40 giant industries all together in what I call an economic ecosystem. Most of you have only seen a few of those entities, the iWowie and the public company Hemp Inc. and how they work together. I promise you that is the tip of the iceberg. So I'm going to start off with giving you a little background as to why a public company would spend $1 million at a time buying 5,000 positions into the down line. Okay. I got the idea originally when I decided I had to move my public company's market awareness campaign worldwide, and a couple other reasons. Well, what better way to move a network marketing company worldwide than ride the backbone of a network marketing company? I hold 5 world records in the network marketing industry. I've had 3 of my own network marketing companies. I don't want to do network marketing. I'm a public company, but this happens to be the best combination of forces. So here's how it works. If I make Fred Erickson a $50,000 check and I cap the check at $50,000, guess what? The extra money goes to? It goes to purchase products on my public company. Let's take our hemp protein. We beta tested the system 1 month ago, and in 24 hours, Chris for the women's leg for his wife Taisha, Chris Tinney, and Fred Erickson for the men's leg, created a $1,000 check in their position, gave the public company that position, made another $1,000 underneath that, and I just got $2,000 of purchasing power that bought my hemp protein in 24 hours. That's how long it took them, before we did the $50,000 blocks. Then I walked in the other room and I see Lynn, with all these boxes of MJ Lovers, one of another products, with invoices, and she's saying to me, is this person COD? Did this person pay for it? Oh, did I leave a box of MJ Lover in your truck the other day? And it looked so barbaric compared to what just happened. I just sold $2,000 worth of product in 24 hours at full retail price. The matrix paid for it. Full retail. No commissions, no advertising cost, no competitive pricing, no supply and demand issues. It's a whole new economic paradigm, and it blew my mind. And I knew it would work. So we said, okay, good. We beta tested it. Still didn't quite finish the beta test. The money went into the back office, and I'm saying to Barry, my CEO kind of guy, Barry, move the money after 48 hours to your bank account, because we're not done testing the model or proof of concept until you do that. Now, he's busy spinning out, 4 public companies from our public company. So finally, a week and a half later, he moves the money. I go, great, now ship the product. It's paid for. We give it away. Holy mackerel, did you hear that? We just made the largest profit in the history of public companies, and he gives the product away. Well, of course, what are we going to do with it? Sell it twice? So 25% of it's Chris Tinney, because he's Red Peace US Okay, and he feeds the homeless, 25% to Michael Beckwith for his feeding program, 25% to Patch Adams for his free hospital in West Virginia, and 25% to Daniel Brinkley for our veterans. He works in the veterans hospitals with the dying veterans. So, so all of a sudden, we become a public company that's making the most profit in the history of public companies, and all we do is give away products to people starving all over the world wherever they need them. This is not just hemp protein, by the way. It is hemp, AFA, spirulina, rhodiola, 600 milligrams. For those who knew about nutrition, that will blow your mind. It's the number one product nature has in the country, all over America. It's prescribed. Dr. Andrew Weil was on Dr. Oz a week ago saying that's the number one product he prescribes. And unlike most stuff on the market that has 75 to 250 milligrams, we have 600 milligrams per serving. And cordyceps, 1,000 milligrams per serving. Well, cordyceps used to cost $10,000 a gram because there was a fungus that grew out of caterpillars' heads. It now, now that I've learned to grow in a petri dish. And by the way, they prescribe $1 billion of cordyceps in China every year as a cure for cancer. So we have the most incredible food design in the history of America, and we give it away to the homeless. This isn't some throwaway food or junk food or leftover food. This is the most powerful combination of foods for starving people all over the world. That's what this model does. Okay, so now we've proven it. We've actually shipped the product, the first part, to Chris Tinney, and we didn't even have the labels done, by the way. So he said, I don't care. Send me one label, mock it up, and send me my $500 worth of protein, because I'm going to feed the homeless, and I'm going to make green smoothies feed with what you send me. So that's what we're doing here. Now that's so now you understand why a public company would do something like this. Every public company in the friggin' world would do this if they knew how. This is not some economically bizarre thing. This is some economically incredibly reasonable thing that we've just figured out how to do it first. There are a couple of companies in the loop doing what we're doing. Not the four that we're spinning out, but there's others that work in my genre, right? They make sustainable houses. I mean, we're shipping a friggin' house to Ghana, Africa. A house made of Grigacrete, which is all recycled material. It's earthquake-proof. It's hurricane-proof. It's mold-proof, mildew-proof, bulletproof even. And you put it up in 2 days. Right? We're shipping one where it's being built. It'll be shipped to Ghana, Africa as part of this program, because that gets the second public company that's involved in this economic ecosystem. It gets their funding, just like I'm funding, involved in the loop too, when we become their chief selling machine. So that's what we're doing. So now I'm looking around and saying, okay, I told Fred in the beginning, I'll buy him and pay for a $50,000 check. It's only cost $100,000, by the way, in this program. Remember, in the beginning, I'm going a little bit just by the seat of my pants. Before I met Bill Starkey, I met him originally, and I knew that this was the right company to roll it out with. Just the way I met him, I just knew. Okay, it was an instinct. And so, and then after we started rolling this out, because it quite frankly blew the company's mind. They wanted to see what's up and what we're doing. And my guys had to meet him too, because I have my marketing guy.
I just want to let people know Bill Starkey's the CEO of iWowie for those new people on the phone.
Okay, because he's actually not the CEO of iWowie. This guy is unfriggin' believable. He's one of the original crowns in Amway. He sold his Amway business 40 or some years ago for $15 million. I had one of the biggest dealerships in Florida after that, sold that, and he's really was into technology all these years, and he's been incredibly successful. Like me, he doesn't need the money to do network marketing, okay? I have enough stock to last me for 40 years. I don't need the headache of doing network marketing. I have enough firepower to match 50,000 or 500,000 network marketers. As an example, one of our spin-off companies, whose conference call didn't just work, by the way, their dialer, thank God, does work, because they make a couple $1 million a year using it. Can call every household, phone, every home phone, business phone, and cell phone in America, every one of them, in 30 days. 10 million calls a day. They're the best politicians are. It's the biggest system on earth. There is nothing bigger, and nobody has more phone numbers. Sort of think about what we can use that for down the road in our marketing campaigns. So so I didn't want to do network marketing, but I use network marketing for a whole different reason. When I cap Fred at 50, the position I'm putting $1 million is like 5,000 positions, 2,500 down the women's leg, 2,500 down the men's leg. That's a lot of positions. That's something we've never had in this industry, in our history. Bill Starkey did not see me coming. Okay, he couldn't have. No one's ever done that. This is over and over and over again. It's not like once, because Fred's spot would be normally making $200,000, $140,000, $70,000, whatever, more than 50 if I didn't cap them. That extra money buys product for my public company at full retail. So I want to get it in everyone's heads that, yes, I'm doing everyone a big favor by buying it in and helping pay it forward, but yes, I'm also going to make a huge impact on the value of my public company stock because of the kind of sales that this, I call it a purchasing matrix, generates. Right? So once you understand the economic reasonableness of what we're doing, we now go to the next step. All right. The next step is, how do I determine? Well, I want to jump back to Bill. No, I'll cover this part first. I'll get back to Bill and turn over to Fred to explain a little bit about what we've got here. So I start off, and for those who know about stock, it's a pain to get your stock to a, it can take 2 weeks to 8 weeks to clear stock, get the opinion letter, and get your certificates cleared to be in position to trade. I've got $2 million worth of stocks being cleared right now for my first public company, Medical Marijuana Inc., which I sold about 2 years ago. I still have lots of stock left. And so while that's going through the hoops of being cleared and get the opinion letter and all this stuff you have to do, another guy is getting a loan against the current company stock, and like a $1.5 million loan. So we both agree we'll put $500,000 each in to build the downline because it does nothing but make sales. The sales get announced in a press release. The stock goes through the roof, or at least it should, theoretically. We'll see. If the worst case, it goes through the roof when we file the first quarter financials, and they go, oh, my God, look at the profitability of this company. Right? So we don't care when it goes through the roof. We know it's coming. Okay, so while I'm waiting...
Maybe we should just do a quick recap here because there's so much information coming in here for people. We want to make sure that we have a really strong picture that we've painted so far. So what you did was you met with Bill Starkey, who is CEO of iWowWee, which is a really incredible technology company. So these guys are world class. And what you've got is, through what you've done with your public companies and being able to produce the income through your public companies, being able to give your products away, and you're helping the homeless and the people that are starving, and really creating a movement in that place. With your model that you've done, you found a great company with iWowWee, and now you're going to put this same model into the company iWowWee and fund it and be able to produce more money and more opportunity to be able to give back to the people. And so the company wins, the distributor wins, and also your public company wins, you win, and of course all the people we see that are needing our help, whether it be here in North America or whether it be in Ghana or wherever in the world, all that is going to spread through, and that's where this movement actually moves. So we want to make sure that everybody really gets a good picture of where this is moving to. So anyways, back to you, Rich. I think that paints it really clearly for people, okay?
Okay, perfect. So now you know that any public company would do this if they knew how, and you know that I'm going to be doing it at least once a month, if not once a week, okay? The same thing, building downlines. And then we go, and now and I'm thinking about it, and I want to make some world records in the first 30 days. So I had some target things. I said, look, we'll make a $5,000 check for Tina in Ghana, Africa. We'll make $50,000 for Fred. We'll make $50,000 for my wife. We'll make $50,000 for Reverend Beckwith. A couple fives for Satya and Alora because they're the support team. And this before Sandy came on. And Sandy's one of the original 1,000 Millionaire Women. She's used to my concepts. I call it quantum economics, for 3 or 4 companies that we did. So she understands all this. But she's in Florida now. She's moving out to Las Vegas. And we will fine-tune and make a machine out of this because we have a new reality. None of us network marketers ever had an upline putting in 5,000 freaking people at a time. 5,000, or a female leg. That's new to a lot of people. So now I go and I meet Bill Sparky. And let me tell you, this guy, I sat there and listened to him talk, and I had tears in my eyes. First my guys had to meet him, right? Richard Stewart down, who does the loyalty card. It's one of our public companies' products. And he happens to be connected to 10,000 banks around the world. He's the biggest machine of his kind. We have the dialer, we have the loyalty card. 10,000 banks worldwide. Give me a break. He's launching the 31,000 which is, the loyalty card. And so you can say, well, why am I going to spend $1 million a time? That happened about a week ago. Hit it off great. Right? Yeah, we went to Salt Lake City last week, and Barry, my CEO kind of guy, who writes all my contracts for the last 20 years, because I don't like contracts. I make poems out of contracts, so I'm too wild for that, and I don't like that stuff, so he does it. And he had to meet him and validate that this is a good idea, all right, because he's our formulator of our products. It is great. Bill said, this is wonderful, Bruce. I will support anything you're doing. But he gently reprimanded me, and he said, Bruce, you're creating a welfare state here. Let me tell you something. He didn't say it quite this harsh. Bill's a very gentle guy. And he's a network marketing pro. He said, I have people in Russia where most of this company is, and in Germany and Ukraine, and they borrow from 4 people the 195 to get an opportunity, the opportunity to be in this opportunity. And you're giving it away for free with no rhyme or reason, all right? Yes, making Fred 50, he acknowledges that's a great idea because a big check sells to every other network marketer, and Fred knows all the leaders, and him and Bill hit it off great because they both know all the same people over the last 40 years. And Fred had to sign up Paul Morris right in front of Bill with our new model. So he said, the first meeting, he said, let me be in charge of where it gets built because I don't know what's appropriate in Ukraine and in China and Ecuador. You don't need to make a $50,000 check from them. In fact, if I made a $50,000 check for Tina in Ghana, Africa, I lose her. She's gone. It's way too much. A homeless person, I realized, holy mackerel, a homeless person, I used to make them $1,000 a month. Think about that, $1,000 a month. Well, that's $49,000 of purchasing that I get from my public company before that I have to do to get Fred. So now we have an economic model that makes a homeless person more valuable to me than Fred Erickson, a giant network marketer, or Chris Tinney. Okay? And then I think, well, geez, maybe I should be signing up homeless people instead of hotshot network marketers. I'm paying for it all anyways. Then we get to college kids. When me and Fred put together a model for college kids, I capped them at $2,000 a month. Well, all of a sudden, a college kid is worth to me way more than a leader is, because I guarantee you a college kid walking through a campus will sign up more than any leader on this phone because they're right there in the sorority and right there in the fraternity, and you got all the kids there. I'm paying for everything. I capped them at $2,000, and I got $48,000 more than that I have to make for a leader. Now, leaders are important because once they learn how this thing works, they can train it better than a college kid could. College kids happy going to school and making $2,000, and then I showed Bill how it works. They make $4,000 the second year, $8,000 because we kept it right. $8,000 the third year, $16,000 the fourth year. The first year of their master's degree. We capped them at the 50 on the second year of their master's degree, and 2 years of PhD, $50,000 each. How's that for putting money back into education? They get their PhD. We also have a mechanism to pay off their student loan, to pay their rents, and to invest in stock. What did I say? Invest in stock? Holy mackerel! I just created an entire generation of stock buyers. They can buy any stock they want, but they'll probably buy hemp Inc. Okay, it's called buying pressure on the stock, and that's what makes the stock go up. So that was another added benefit to this model that I did not anticipate in the first when I launched it. And now we have what I call a basic building block. And so far, Andy, Satya, and Laura have built a basic building block. In other words, yes, I know how to make $50 a check, $1,000,000, but what's the basic building block? How do you build up to that? And the $10,000 checks, the $1,000 checks, we figured that all out, and that's what we've actually done. We have 3 of these basic building blocks already built. Sandy and Tracy and Sheila built one, and they understand it. They're the trainers at this point. And then I go to Salt Lake City with Fred Erickson and meet Sparky, and I go, oh my God, I didn't see this one coming, guys. He's paying out more commissions than any other network marketing company in the history of the world. He doesn't need the money. He needs the customers. Right? He's going toe-to-toe against Skype. Just has a few little guys on his team, like the guy that invented Twitter, the guy that started Twitter, the guy that invented that computer, and 11 other people of that computer behind his company. They say we just need customers all over the world, and none of the giants will pay attention to us because they'd never pay attention to network marketing. That's a pyramid scheme. Oh, that's, look at what's happening with Herbalife, right? 40 years in the industry, and now some market makers calling it a pyramid scheme, trying to dump $1 billion. It's not a pyramid scheme. They went through that test, 40 years ago, when the FDA took it down, and they're not. We know that. We know the difference. So, but he's flying under the radar with this company, right? While he develops his customer base. So, and you've all heard we're going to a binary. So now I'm going to turn it over to Fred to tell you what I never saw coming. I never saw this lucrative of a pay plan. So he's going to explain to you where we're going when we go to the binary, and when I change the rules. Because Bill recommended me to, like I said, but just giving away everything for no rhyme or reason to anybody, and when I could just be getting homeless or college kids instead by the gazoodles and capping at a much lower number. So I made a new rule based on that and how you get people and where I place them, which takes the heat off of me. It takes the favoritism completely away. We pretty much know who the leaders are in this country. When we hit Germany, which we're already in 50 countries, by the way. I mean, Tina has people in 11 countries. Or Liberia. What do we cap? We have no rules to go by. Well, now I can find a rule to go by. Whoever signs up somebody frontline to Fred, make those 50,000 checks. I'll give them back when the funding happens. It'll be next week, the latest the week after. I mean, I can't take one, my stock to clear, but I have 2 million waiting to clear. And Richard meets with Monday, it's going to get stock, and that's supposed to happen 5 days after the papers are signed. So it's Friday, but let's call it Monday to be safe. So now at least I have a place and know where to put all those 2,500 positions. You help everybody. You help the group. You buy a position or a person there, or just we can have a function that's like low. Yeah, it doesn't be the real person. You don't know other people. And I would go 3 to 3 for everyone that you do. I'm economically incentivizing people to work as a team and to have a whole group instead of themselves. So now I'll turn it over to Fred to explain the actual pay plan for you network marketers and hold on to your hats because I didn't have to do any of this stuff. I just didn't know how lucrative it was. But I'm going to continue doing it because the combination is just unirresistible. Fred, go ahead.
Well, basically, it is extremely unusual, and it is because of the economics. In most companies, basically they have a product that costs money, and so if it's Amway or Herbalife or New Skin or Bisalis or whatever, there's a cost of goods. So they have to pay for shipping, they have to pay for materials, they have to pay for all kinds of stuff. So most of those companies say they pay out 40 to 50%. But do they really? No. Like, for instance, one guy told me, there's 14 ways you can make money with this company. I said, no. There's 14 ways they don't have to pay you full commission. If you don't jump through every hoop, you don't get it all. So in other words, in many of these companies, although they say they pay 40, 50%, usually the average person is somewhere between 30 and 35% if they're lucky. Now, this company, because it has a internet access, in other words, you get a website with the technology on it, they don't have the normal costs. Once they have the patent and once they have the ability to get that out all over the world for almost nothing. It's kind of like, if you remember back a few years ago, there was a company called SkyBiz. And basically when it cost $5,000 to $25,000 to build a website, because you had to have a guru that knew how to do it, with that website with templates, you could do it for $100 and have a decent-looking website. That went around the world, and I know one guy named Rasmussen made something like $7 million, and he was just a distributor. So something like this can expand very quickly around the world. But what makes it so attractive is the kind of money they can pay. For instance, right now he's paying about 74% to the field, okay? But it's a 3x9 matrix. And the problem with matrix is if they don't fill in, if somebody doesn't do their job, there's holes. And so all of a sudden it's a gotcha, you're not getting full commissions. So basically he's changing to a binary. And there's no gotchas. In other words, there's no hoops to jump through. You make 2 sales, one left, one right, you're qualified for commissions. What do you have to do to get qualified for 10% matching bonuses to infinity? Well, you have to make 1 sale right and 1 sale left. The rest just comes with volume. There's no hoops to jump through. What about when you get 20% to infinity? No one has ever done that I know of in the history of networking. That is extremely generous. Okay, at 10% to infinity, he's paying out about 80% to the field. But there's no hoops to jump through to get there. It's just volume in your group. All right, how about to get 30% to infinity? That's so amazing. I can't even imagine how he can do it. But I asked him, I said, how much does that pay to the field? 97%. Now, does this company pay 97% to everybody in the field? No. But they're paying 74 to 80% to everybody if they make 2 sales. All right? If they just make 2 sales and they have the volume, they brought in some leaders who bring in some volume themselves, all right, what happens is you get to the 20% and then 30%. Well, what does 30% to infinity mean? That means, like, let's say you're under me, and let's say that I'm getting 10%. I make 10% of your income. So if you made $1,000, I just made $100 as an extra bonus. But what about the person under you, and the person under them, and the person under them? That's how it goes in a binary. Yes, I get 10% on all of those people's incomes too. Okay, so one guy who was making about $100,000 a month in a company who brought in this 10% matching to infinity went to about $300,000 a month the next month. It pays more. It's a very generous payout to the field. Okay, about 80%. Very few companies can afford to, or even if they could afford to, don't pay that kind of money. But 30% matching is like a 97% payout. That is truly amazing. So for some people on this line who are leaders and don't mind putting forth a little work for a lot of money, we're all going to make it. When he explained why he did it, he said he wants some distributors in this company to be earning over $1 million a month. Now, that is extremely hard to do in any payout. But in this company, there will be people who do it this year. That is incredible. In other words, when I graduated college, I interviewed 10 Fortune 500 companies. They all offered me almost the exact same thing. So it was very difficult to make a decision. If some of the companies offered me 40% or 50%, and one of the companies offered me 97%, what do you think I'd have done? It would have been a pretty simple decision. Because if you're going to do about the same work, if someone's going to pay you a lot more for doing it, unless you have no value in your own abilities or your own worth, why wouldn't you get paid what you're worth? If someone is willing to pay it, then you're worth it. Okay, it's worth it to this company to pay a high amount out, and why is that? It's because it will attract the creme de la creme. It will attract the biggest and best networkers. What good is that? Well, those people have followers that they can direct and bring into something that's a good deal, not just for the big leaders, but for everyone. I mean, it's not that hard to get people in a program when they're getting paid in. What is the risk? There is no risk. They don't even have to give a credit card. So if they decide when the auto ship comes a month later not to pay the $20, how is anybody going to make them pay it? They haven't put up a credit card. There is literally no risk. One banker asked me, does anybody say no? I said yes. They do. But it's a win-win because we're weeding out the retards early. Now, I'm not saying that if a person doesn't join this company, they're a retard, because that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is this is such a good deal, most people will want it. But everybody's situation is different, and there might be some people that it just doesn't fit for whatever reason. And that's okay for them. But if you understand this program, most of the people on this line are going to want to do it, because this company is willing to pay us more than other companies for doing about the same thing. And although most companies have comp plans that are complicated, and there's all kinds of hoops to jump through and all kinds of levels to reach and all kinds of parameters to achieve before you get the bonuses or the extra money. And this one is pretty simple. Let me give you an example of what kind of fella this Bill Sparky is. He takes in $20 auto ship from about 167,000 people that have joined this company worldwide. Now, since right now it's a 3x9 matrix, he only has to pay 9 levels. So $1 per person for 9 levels. Out of the $20, he's paying out 9 to the field. So there's some extra money there. So what he's done is a contest or a achievement award for this month is any of you who sell 8 new distributors or customers, 8 sales this month, you get to share in that $167,000 pool, which is going to be shared and distributed with only people who have made 8 or more sales this month. So if there's some of you on the line who have already made 8 sales, that's good news. It means you can do it. Do it again. You need 8 this month. Now, out of the people in this company, how many people do you think are going to make 8 sales in a given month? What are the statistics in network marketing of that happening? Very, very rare. Which means that any of you who really go out after it can do it. And what does that mean? Sharing a $167,000 one-month bonus? What if only 10 of us do it? What's 10 divided into 167,000? 16,700. We're pretty close to that. So it's the kind of thing, that's a heck of a bonus for someone in their first month. Okay, what if you had to buy in 8 people and you paid for them? Like Bruce is paying for people to come in. What if you did that? What if you played, pay it forward first Okay, and you put in 8 people and you got to share in that pool. Okay, 8 people at $200 is what, $1,600? Okay, do you think it'd be worth it to get 16,000? I might take a chance on that. But anyway, it's the type of thing you don't have to necessarily buy someone in. You can basically take advantage of Bruce. Bruce is saying, I'll work with the workers. I'm going to buy in 5,000 people in the next couple of weeks. Who should I buy them under? Well, how about the people that put some people under Lana or Fred, where I'm trying to create a $50,000 check to make a point. So anybody who puts a position under either one of those, in a week or so, he's going to buy 3 positions under them. Now, each position that you sell someone, or someone, if he buys someone in for you, who gets the $50 fast start? Well, you would. Okay, so if you put out $200, you get $150 back just in fast start. Plus, you'd have 3 sales. So that makes it a little easier to get to 8 if that's a goal. Okay, but what if you brought in 3 people? That's $600. How much do you get back in fast starts? What's 6 times 50? $300. So you're out of pocket $100, and you might get a $16,000 bonus. Or what if it was only $1,600? What if 100 people do it? I doubt very much if that'll happen, but that's still not a bad bonus to go after. So for those who put out a little effort and put out a little money, those who give a little get a little. Those who give a lot get a lot. So for those who can afford it, I highly suggest you jump on it. But for those who can't, let's just take the basic program. Let's not take the bonus that Starkey's offered. Let's not even consider the wonderful, generous offer that Bruce is giving, 3 for 1. This is an intelligence test. How many people would give up $200 to make $600? Well, some people will pass that test. But it's the kind of thing, if you put it to and have 3 people bought in for you, and they can be the people you want. In other words, there's a lot of people out there, I just don't want to give people that Bruce is buying in because he puts them wherever he wants, not necessarily under me. And I might want to work with those people. Well, here's a way to do it. Buy in 1 position under Fast 1, or if you're a lady under Lana, and what happens? Bruce will buy 3 coded to you. That's a pretty good deal. But let's take all the deals out of it and just say it's a regular program. What program out there in network marketing, what home-based business offers 74 to 80% return? In other words, of the money coming into the company, they're paying that to the field. Nobody that I've ever heard of. And when you get to a top level, those of us getting in early have a huge advantage. Why is that? Because it's going to a binary. How are they going to take a 3-buy and make it a 2-buy? Well, I heard from the chief operations officer that what they're going to do is take the first person by time date in your group and put it on your left, and the second person by time date and put it on your right, and the third person put it on your left, the fourth person put it on your right. Well, what if Bruce buys in 5,000 people in the next couple of weeks? Are any of you in before those 5,000? I think you all are. What does that mean? That means you're going to have a heck of a downtime in a binary. Okay, what is that worth? It means for a little effort, if you get 1 person on your pay leg in a binary that's working, 1 person, you will probably max out the plan. It takes a life of its own. So I think this is an extremely unusual opportunity, and those who understand it are really excited about it. Like Tracy, she's been around. She understands. Like Sandy or Sheila, many of the people on the line tonight understand how hard it is to build a big group and what an easy and wonderful situation we're in. And so they're excited. The ones who aren't excited yet just don't understand it. So we'll keep trying to explain it. Yeah.
Sorry, Fred, can we take just a minute? And there's so much information here. I think people are, really, let's get this really clear, because there's actually a couple of scenarios going on here. And again, there's so much information going on here, but there's a way for people, there's going to be a flood of people that are going to have an opportunity of just, I mean, they're going to get a business paid for them, really, $195 incredibly great business paid for them by kind of waiting in the wings a little bit, really. But there's a secondary part here that I don't think we've made very clear. Because, I mean, being able to, like you said, to make the point of that $50,000 check, and I think you're really close to that right now, that being able to put a monetary value on that, $195 into that position, that Bruce is going to reward those 3 positions that you can have those coded for you. But like you said, there's going to be 3 people coming in anyway. We don't know who they're going to be because he said they'll just come in as they come in, and they'll get paid for and go wherever. So that's an additional 3. So maybe you want to just expand on that a little bit more so people get a better picture of what that's all about. Okay?
Well, let me make a precursor to that. Okay, on the way up to see Bill in Salt Lake State, after spending $125+ I didn't anticipate spending because I'm counting on this other stock, is allocated for the 5,000 positions. I said, Fred, we got to stop putting people underneath you, and I got to build the matrices now. I'm building blocks of my credit cards to use for Sandy, to use it for Alora and Satya. So we get those done. So what can I do to incentivize people to pay their own way in? I've already spent $25,000. I think at this point it's pretty real deal, okay, that $5,000 check was made for Teen and God in Africa by today, not by my update, which I said. And anyone who has not got that update, please get it from the leaders. And just so you know who the leaders are who understand this, it's Chris, Fred, Sandy, Tracy, Sheila, and Satya, okay, and myself. They understand exactly how we're building, and they'll train everyone else. And I sent an update to them, and everybody needs to get that update because it explains it. And then we came up with, well, anyone who signs up somebody under you or Lana, I'll give them 3 to 1. Okay? So that works. And then when I did the update, I said, and better yet, not only will I give them 3 to 1, I'll put 1 person under each of those 3, coded to those 3, because it just works for me as well as it does for them. So that's where we're at now. And now Fred will explain, and we said, okay, well, listen, buy 20 people in, and they get 60 people. All right. And again, this is a separate category. This tells me mathematically where to put the people. And sure, there's a lot of people that are in right now that are not going to be able to do that, okay? But let's say mathematically I got to put 3 plus 1, plus 3, under each of those. There's going to be leftover people, like 1,000 people, I guess, is left over, 1,000 positions. And that'll go under the people that don't buy people in, So we have both scenarios running. But Fred's going to explain, because he's got a guy buy 20 people in, and why they would do that at this particular time when we're switching to a binary. So Fred, explain that particular scenario.
Sure. In other words, let's say that a person understood that if you put in 1 person, you get 3 personals. Now, not only can you pick who to put there, and so if you happen to have some big leaders that you know and want them in, that's a heck of a deal, because one way to get a big leader is to say, look, I'll comp you in. I'll pay for it. I'll get you comped in, because actually Bruce is paying for it. But if that makes sense, then making 3 people, in other words, putting 3 positions under Lana or Fred, gives you 9 positions. Well, 9 is 1 more than 8, which that means it puts you into the bonus pool for the 167 to 1,000 to be split. That's probably a good idea for anyone that has $600. Now, what do you get back immediately in addition to whatever the bonus pool turns out to be? Well, what's 9 times $50? If Bruce is buying in 9 people and they're coded to you, you get the $50 on all 9. That's $450 of your $600 back immediately.
And let me break for a second, because you get $50 on the first 3. You get $60 on the ones from then forward. So it's actually more than 50, just 50 is easier math. think I said.
Yeah. So anyway, if getting one in makes sense, if getting 3 in, now some people don't have 9 leaders. They don't have 9 people they know that they want to have in. So what? You know, you have the ability then to go find people, or we've got kinds of leaders coming, so if you need some, we'll throw them in. But for example, one guy I know who's a very astute networker and very successful, he's talking about getting 20 positions that he's going to buy people in under Fast One. What will that do for him? Well, what's 3 times 20? 60. How many people would like to have 60 leaders under them in a binary? Then the most likely dissemination is going to be 30 on your left and 30 on your right. Out of 30 leaders on each side of a binary, how are you not going to make $50,000 a month? I mean, so for the people who can afford it, that's something that several people are considering. One guy was coming over to the house here. He hasn't got here yet, but that's what he's planning on doing. Another fellow I know is doing that. He's already committed to it, giving me his credit card to start putting the people in. He said, Fred, I don't know 60 big leaders. I said, yeah, but I do. I said, we're going to be buying in people. If you want 60 of them under you, this isn't a bad idea. He said, I'm in. So it's kind of, we're not saying that you should do that. We're saying that those who would like to have, like, let's say you just wanted, 30 people in your downline. Well, if you had a little less than $2,000, $1,950, you can buy in 10 people. What's 3 times 10? 30. That means Bruce buys 30 in for you. You could have 15 on each side. Let's say you only had $1,000. You could buy in 5 people, and 3 times 5 is 15. Have 15 leaders. Then you got a problem. You get 7 on one side, 8 on the other. But that's a good problem. I mean, if you understand binaries, how many people complain because they can't get people to join their pay leg? In other words, everyone who understands binaries wants to be on the power leg. Well, the way that this company is changing, there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of people on their pay leg. If they've done any work and they have people in their downline, they're going to have them. Because Bruce is buying in so many people, and they're going basically in the lines we've already started, those who are in early are going to inherit a lot of people downline. That's exciting if you're just there. So even if you don't have, extra money to put out, you can celebrate because good times are coming. But anybody that you like, anybody that you really want to help, in this economy, there's people that are hurting. They couldn't come in this if they wanted to unless someone buys them in. You can spread the word and help people. And it's the kind of thing that makes some people happy. Some people don't care unless it benefits them. But basically, this comes back to you. It's a pay it forward, and it's fun. I think we're doing something that not only is going to make a bunch of us a lot of money, we're also going to provide a high protein hemp for a lot of homeless people. We're going to help Patch Adams build a hospital. We're going to help Daniel Brinkley help veterans and with his Tri-Light Brigade. In other words, Bruce is donating a lot of the money from the hemp sold to charitable groups. I think all of it. So it's a kind of thing, by us earning money, we're doing good. By paying it forward, we're helping other people. Bruce is setting the example by paying it forward first and helping other people. So those of us who don't have extra money, when we start making the money, he suggested when you make at least $5,000, buy 4 people in. Pay it forward. Those who don't have to get some income before they can do that might want the incentives to pay it forward now. So anyway, that's where we are. But if forget buying anyone in or doing anything except just work on the program. Number one, the product is extremely valuable. Anybody who understands autoresponders, if you send someone a video email, do you know if they watched it or not? No, you don't. Well, with iWowWee, you do. It has autoresponders. So you know if they watch 2 minutes of it, you know if they watch the whole thing, you know if they watch it 3 times, you know if they send it to some other friends. It has some real technology that makes it worth $20 a month, okay? But it's this type of thing. Because it's technology that people are now using. In other words, one guy was told, how would you like to go to Africa and sell shoes? He's like, are you crazy? No one in Africa wears shoes. Who could I sell to? Well, someone else might say, oh, my God, I got the whole country. I'm going to be rich. So it depends on your attitude. But basically, a lot of people use Join Me. A lot of people use Skype. A lot of people would use video emails if they even knew they existed. There's a lot of people that don't know. But basically, this is a great tool for any network marketer, no matter what company they're working now. It can help them build an income there. But once they understand that this company pays more than any other network marketing company, they might find they're putting more effort here because they're going to get more back faster.
And I want to add one thing about the product. The product is $20 a month. The comparable product on the marketplace, which does all the things that this one does, and he mentioned the company's name, but I'm not a tech guy, so it didn't sink in, is $560 a month, okay, or $520 a month. I forget which number it was. So we're way, way under the marketplace in terms of what we're offering and what we get for $500. Now, we've been running so fast for 32 days here, I haven't had time to study the product and learn the product. That's the next phase, you know, is to get a team of trainers training everybody that's coming into the program on how to actually use it. And that's going to go ballistic when we're actually using this incredible product to talk to people and to video conferencing people and to do autoresponders with our videos, a video autoresponder all over the world. All right. So with that, I think we might be ready to open up for questions. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. We're just going to do a real a quick recap here with really what the vision is, just so everybody gets a really good feel of what's going on here. We've got a technology company with state-of-the-art technology. They're ahead of the curve. All of the executives, they're award-winning. The company's award-winning. Now we've got a benefactor, a fellow who's coming along, Bruce, God bless you, that has really sees the power in this company and the model that he's got, being able to utilize his cash flow, $1 million, put it into a campaign through the company. People are going to have the opportunity of benefiting from that. You've heard from Fred about being able to get these extra positions as well. So it's a no-risk situation, and I really do hope that you catch that. I really hope you catch that vision about the 3 people that come in are going to pay $150 direct to you for fast start. So you've already got your cash flow immediately. That's immediately to you. So it's a $195 product that has value, unlimited value to this. And honestly, if you haven't done it yet, go to iwowwe.com. Don't sign up there, but just go take a look at the products, visit the company, and all of that. Please do that. And then, of course, now we've got this huge vision of all this money that goes in. It comes out in spades. It goes back into our community, into our homeless, into feeding the people that need it. It really is something that is going to self-sustain and grow. It is going to be a movement. It's going to be something that this planet has never seen before. And God bless you, Bruce, for having this vision and really finding the right company to partner up with. And so many people are going to benefit from that. So I think now that we really is a good time to open it up for some questions. I hope people have got. There's one more thing I think that we didn't really go over, and I think it's really important because you really have come up with a set of kind of rules to make this work. And one of them I think people are going to ask the question about is that you really saw there's a competition, I guess, if you will, with the men and the women, and I think some people may have a little trouble with that. And for me, I thought it was a brilliant move because you really are putting people to work together. You've leveled the playing field for everybody, literally leveled it. And, for people who have, work with men or work with women, I think that this is going to be a really good opportunity to put a little bit of competition back into it as well. So I think there might be some questions about that as well. So I think now we should...
let me touch on that. All right.
Sure.
For those of you that don't know about the female leg, Okay, it goes to back to my concept of creating 1,000 millionaire women in one organization. And this is all hacked for Fred and for Sandy and for teaming down in Africa. I've done this with 4 or 5 companies, earlier generations of it. And here's how it works. You sign up a woman. Look, I know that I could get a man to change his economic behavior just a little bit and make $1 million for a woman he loves, his mother, daughter, sister, wife. I know I could change that. Okay, I'm giving away my wife, but now we have 2 income streams in the family, and believe me, I am pouring down more resources than you guys have ever dreamed of possible. You think the $1 million in its positions at a time is some big deal? It is a big deal, but it's nothing compared to what's coming for me to create 1,000 million women. I will stop at nothing. I've got 8 public companies in the loop here. Okay, unlimited wealth, basically what it boils down to. So, how does that actually work? Because people don't like that, and they don't get it. Exactly. And to me, I don't get that they don't get it because I've done it for so long, and so is Sandy, and so is Fred. You put a man, you think you're giving your mother, daughter, sister, or a top network marketer away when you put her in the female egg? What the heck is going to happen when she finds men? She's going to put them back underneath you. She can't put them in the female egg. So the women are supporting the men, and the men are supporting the women. And I've done this 5 times. I tell you, it works brilliant. But here's what else happens. You've ended the competing leg phenomena. And let's take New Skin and all these double diamond, guys, 8 or 9 of them. They're all competing against each other. I used to go to someone's training center in omnitrition, and they wouldn't let anybody in the training center and train them if they weren't in their leg. Okay, so this ends that. This creates cooperation, not competition, cooperation among the legs. And what happens is this incredible synergy starts to happen because you have synergy between the men and the women. All the women are the man that brought them in. The men are, when they find the women, they send them back over to the men. So it's back and forth. This synergy produces what's known, it's the building block, what creates synchronicity. So I don't want you all to freak out when all of a sudden, like Laura said, I called her today and she goes, oh my God, 2 seconds ago I was thinking I needed to talk to you. That's a hallmark of quantum economics, which is what I call this thing. You're going to experience an enormous amount of synchronicity where things just happen magically. That we've all experienced that. Well, not only is there a mathematical formula for it, there is a basis for it, and the basis is synergistic energy. Synergistic energy creates a synchronicity.
We're gonna take a couple calls now. We're at an hour. We're gonna so let's see if anybody has any questions. Is there anybody on the call tonight that has questions for Bruce?
Wasn't that a polite way to shut me up?
No, we can go back into that. We'll go back into that, but I just want to make sure because we're at an hour and we got to upload this, and we get 15 times the listenership, after the call. So keeping it. Anybody have any questions for Bruce of this model? Tracy, do you have a question for Bruce you'd like to ask him before we close out the call?
I think we've sort of given it a good once over with just the process, and I think people are digesting a little bit. And I think that maybe once we post this, people will have a chance to maybe listen to it again. And I'm sure that we'll do this again real soon, and we'll really get people on this to really see the vision. I think they're probably right now in shock and awe. Okay, go ahead.
Bruce, this is Denise. You didn't give any email information of where someone should send if someone wants to become involved. You didn't give any contact information.
Why don't you give? We have Chris, like I said, the people that really understand this are Chris, Fred, Sandy. Sandy's team is Tracy and Sheila and Satya. So why don't you give out some emails, guys? Start with you, Chris.
Bruce, why don't we have everybody go to bruceperlin.com, sign up for your newsletter, and tomorrow morning we'll put out a newsletter with all the links they need to participate.
That's perfect. Yeah, do that. Go to bruceperlin.com.
So everybody go to
Bruce do email blast.
Right. Okay, so everybody go to bruceperlin.com. That's Bruce's website, and that's Bruce's personal website. That's not, it's really cool because it has things that are not, Because legally he can only say certain things on certain calls. So this is a great call. But if you go to bruceperlowin.com, sign up for his newsletter, and then we'll send tomorrow morning. We will send a link out with all the additional information on the program.
Can you give the spelling of Bruce's last name, please?
Perlowin. Perlowin. Perlowin.
And it's P like in Paul.
Perlowin. And we'll send that email out tomorrow morning to everybody, and it'll include Bruce. Shoot me what you want to send, and we'll get that out to everybody tomorrow. And we'll include. Let's make it a big email. Let's include how this whole thing works and links, and we'll make it something that is meaningful.
All right, make sure you work with Gustavo on that, Chris, to frame the email.
Okay, can you repeat that, please? Email, please.
And Stacy's on the phone. You got about 100 people on the line, So Stacy, you're a rock star. Glad to meet you. But you got about 100 people on the line here right now listening to you. So I'm just trying to tighten it up. That's all.
Where's my 50?
What was that question? Was there another question?
Okay. All right, guys. Any questions for Bruce before we end the call? I'm going to mute the line back out, and we'll get back to the moderators. If you're on the line right now, you have a question for either Stacy or Bruce, please ask it now, and we'll give it about 2 seconds, and then we'll move on.
And by the way, it's Tracy.
Hello. I would like to make a quick comment. My name's Daphne. I want to thank all of you for a very high quality, very expansive.
Where are you calling in from, Daphne?
Oh, hi. I'm calling in from Bowen Island near Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Well, awesome. We live in Bellingham, a beautiful place.
A very high quality, very expansive call tonight. Thank you very much, all of you.
Welcome. Go ahead with your comment.
I'm on board. Full time.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, and I think this is something that's going to work real well up there. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes. Thank you so much, both of you.
All right, guys. Anybody else?
Can you repeat the comments for us? Can you repeat
the questions?
They want to know where to sign. It's not an email. You go to bruceperlowin.com and sign up for the updates and emails. That's Bruce, P like in Paul, ERLOWIN.com. And in there also is a link to everything we're doing. Like I said, there's a lot of moving parts, and you can see all the different things from the company to everything I'm doing. But sign up there, and then we'll send that group the updates and who to call and everybody's email.
I want to be clear with people that they're not going to. This call is kind of like your inside circle. If they go to your bruceperlowin.com, that is your website. It does have everything. But they need to subscribe to the newsletter in the top right, area of the page, because we're going to send all the information out tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And so, they need to subscribe to the newsletter to make sure they get the inside info. Just one point.
3 people already did. Wally and Brenda, Sandy, Easy Cash, and another one just did Good Ed 777. So I can see who's signing up. We'll send that particular group all the updates on just this piece of what we're doing.
All right, Tracy, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'd like to just, we're over the hour here, so I want to really thank everybody for their patience in getting this call going. We had a little bit of technical difficulty at the beginning there, but one thing I'd really like to point out to everyone is that you are right here at conception. This is only just a few weeks old, and it is giving birth right now. It is absolutely blossoming into one of probably the biggest ventures I think this planet will have ever seen. So congratulate yourself, congratulate the person that invited you to listen in on this, and I know it's a lot to just absorb, but we will get that information out to you. Do yourself a favor, get involved, get plugged in, stay tuned with us, and let's go change the planet. Let's all go do it together, make it a better place, and God bless you, Bruce, for being here with us, and I think that we've really done some good work here tonight. So with that being said, everybody, thanks for joining us, and we'll let you know when the next call is going to be. Good night.
Good night, everyone, and thank you all for being here.
Goodbye.